Hi guys, this is IngramSpark and it's my little tutorial on how to put your book on IngramSpark. I wanted to show you really quick my dashboard and like the home page basically. So I'm covering up like the books sold and my account info just because obvious reasons. But I wanted to be able to show you guys your dashboard right here, and you can see my different titles. I have Evelyn's number, the original, right here, and it's obviously not active anymore. And then I have the Confident Corgi, the new Evelyn's number, and the Pearl's number. And I don't have ebooks at all on IngramSpark because I felt like why would I bother paying for that when I can do that for free through KDP and other places. So I always prefer free things, but this side is the paperback, and that is the one that I pay for. And as you probably already know, but just in case you don't, IngramSpark does hardcover books, which is amazing, and you can't get that through KDP, at least not right now. So I'm just going to click Add a New Title. All right, so in the Add a New Title option, we're just going to breeze through this, okay? So I'm going to call, I should probably not do this. I'm going to do, let's do the fantasy book again. Fantasy book 1, and we're going to say book 1, subtitle would be like something like Princesses and Castles. You can play around in this up until the point where you pay for it. Nothing is serious, and obviously you're not going to pay for it if you don't want it. 350 bytes. So this is like the super, super short description, like a sentence or two. Your keywords, I think there's 7 in here as well, but let's double check. Enter up to 7 keywords and phrases separated by semicolons. So these are things like, just like with KDP, that you're going to want to use for people when they're going to search it. I'm sorry, I forget that you can never they don't just close on their own. You have to re-click it. So let's see, princesses, castles, this is really bad, but like fantasy, and you would want to research your keywords quite a bit, and you would want to use all 7 of them because this is how people find your book on Amazon. So the same kind of stuff that you would have used for KDP, you would want to use here. Definitely do your research on those. I'm not going to go into researching that today and filling that out. So series name. If you don't have a series name, don't put anything in here. But if, for instance, I don't really think I'll call it this, but if Princesses and Castles was the whole thing and this was the first one in the series, then I would put that there. This right here is going to be huge for when your book goes onto different websites like Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and they're going to be able to look at that. Like say you have 3 books in the whole series, then they're going to be able to actually like list it out correctly, and people will know how to buy your books in the right order. Very helpful. So the edition, picture my Evelyn's number and how I have a first edition and a second. If you've never revised and you've never had a new one, then you don't need to specify this. But like with Evelyn's number, I would specify second edition. But with any other book, I would skip this if it's never been out before. Now this, you'll notice there's a minimum because this is your full book description. I didn't write anything, so oh my gosh, I'm just going to have to do something really, really fast here. Let's see, we are at 703 bytes, so I guess that was more than enough. So I'm going to continue on. All right, so the contributor is you, or in this case, it's me. And so I'm just going to be the one and only author, and that's all I need to do. If you wanted to do more than print book, if you did want to, say, for some reason, just upload an ebook or have both print and ebook, you can definitely do that. I'm sticking with print for the reasons that I told you. So I think I talked about this in the KDP uploading video, but an imprint is your publishing house. So only fill this out if you have a publishing house, but I believe on IngramSpark you need to. Let's find out. An imprint is a trade name used by a content provider to identify a line of books or publishing branch, aka the publishing house, displayed as a publisher on most retail sites. As far as I'm aware, you do need to have like a publishing house or a business, basically something to be listed as who the publisher is when you're uploading to IngramSpark, which is one of the reasons that I originally made Grace House Press, among other reasons like taxes and that kind of thing. So this subject right here is how, like, picture this as your place on the bookshelf. That's your like book industry standard, something something. I can't remember what it's called, but it stands for basically like where you are on the shelf in like the bookstore or the virtual shelf. So you can always search, and I think it's really wise to search, like for instance, fantasy. You'll be able to see all these different codes on the side. Fiction is pretty common, but then you'll want to go really specific. So you can actually sort through here, like fantasy. I do have, this would be more book 3, fantasy, dragon, and mythical creatures. I'm going to jump way ahead. Look at that, mermaids. Who would have guessed? Now, obviously, dragons and mermaids, I would want to be more specific to the books in the fantasy series. This is book 2. Mermaids would fit that, and book 3 has the focus on dragons. So this is not actually what I would do for book 1 in the series, but it's what I'm doing right now. And then you definitely want to pick an age range, so young adult. And actually, I think juvenile might actually be wrong now that I look at that. Let's find out. Oh, goodness, it is wrong. Okay, so this is really good to know. And this is, again, another reason that you really want to look through all the options. And I remember I picked young adult dystopian for, oh gosh, it's going to keep it, for one of my, what do you call it? The number series books. So young adult fiction, yes, definitely. Kind of narrow it down. And you can notice how they have these little slashes, so you might be able to work with that. And there you go. I can figure out how to find fantasy. Wizards and witches, contemporary, general. Okay, cool. So maybe I want to find out if they have a mermaids category. They totally do. So now, knowing this, like, it kind of clued me in that for them, juvenile meant 0 to 12. Knowing that, I would want to go in and make sure none of my categories are juvenile if I am not actually publishing something for ages 0 through 12. So it will catch you if there's a problem, and it will help you figure out, this is not really right for you. You might want to reconsider this. And fairy tales and folklore adaptations, check that out. That is just the coolest thing ever. And then you can also pick an age range. So this is 13 to 18, but you could specify even closer. You could say, actually, I'm kind of looking at this range. And what grade is that? Is that 7th grade? This could be really off. I'm not really thinking this through right now. I think that might be 6th to 7th. But anyway, table of contents is something for nonfiction typically. So if you don't have a table of contents, don't worry about this at all. Review quotes is something that's also something you don't have to worry about. Gosh, what's a good example? When Kim Chance and Jesse Elliott wrote, I don't remember what they wrote, but it was something nice about my book, and it was their words. So Jesse Elliott wrote something, same thing, Kim Chance, and I would quote it just like I had done on the back of my actual books. I would put things like that here because this is going to go on the detail page. So it's actually going to give you options like 2 to 8 positive review quotes. You want them to be from people who are influential. I think that says it right here. Basically people who have authority. So don't just put in anything, like don't put in what beta readers say, but put in people who are actually authors or people of authority. So photographs and illustrations, most fiction books do not have this. I did consider my author photograph when I clicked this, but I ended up clicking no. And I've never had a problem. Awesome. Okay, so you notice that it's step 5 of 5, so we're actually breezing through this really fast. The trim size that I picked, if you guys are curious, is the 8 by, or is it up here? 5 by 8. Actually, this is a really common one right here, 5 by 8, but gosh, they organize it so weird. 5 by 8. I think mine is 5 by 8.25. Okay, I don't remember. So what you would do is you would go into your documents and you would look it up. I believe this is what I have. So you would look up in your Word doc or whatever you might be using. I think PDF has this option as well. And look up what it says your document size is to be absolutely sure that it's correct. But they do have size, like kind of education, and they obviously have a ton of options, but they don't have as many options as KDP, because I remember I had picked a size, I think it was like 5.25, by 8.25 or 8.50 or something like that, and you can notice that they don't quite have that option. Yeah, I think all of the by 5s are pretty standard. So for your standard book, it's going to be kind of in this little range right here for fiction specifically. Very commonly, this is like the generic size right here is a 6x9. So anyway, you can play around with sizes. You can actually, with IngramSpark, this is expensive to do. I wouldn't recommend doing it here, but with KDP, you can order a size, create a proof copy, and kind of like get a feel for the actual size. So like if you're like me, I started out with a 6x9 book from KDP. Evelyn's number was 6x9, and it was huge. And I didn't know that, but I also didn't know how to change it and format it correctly. So now I have bumped it down to this size. Interior color is almost always going to be black and white. You can do some color if you happen to have pictures like your map. Unfortunately, you'd have to pick color if you had a map. I did a black and white map to kind of get around that. And then I've been really enjoying the cream pages, but I also did have white pages for the first Evelyn's number. I tried white pages. Or no, is it backwards? Do I have white pages now? Oh my gosh, if you guys have the book, you should check it out and let me know because it's too funny. I have no idea, and I don't have it in front of me. But I know that I did a paperback, and of course, you can tell they only have one option where they glue the spine. Now, since I'm here, I'm going to check out the hardback options. So you can actually do like a cloth where they put the text on the spine and they stamp it. And how cool is that? Or you can have a color laminated cover glued to boards with no dust jacket. Ooh, okay. How cool is this? This is beyond cool. This makes me want a hardback cover really bad, but I do believe they take a pretty big chunk of that, and your royalty is unfortunately lower, plus you have to charge people more. So that's something for my future that I want to do, but I haven't done this yet. And then I think it's the cloth that's throwing me off because I don't remember seeing cloth before, but gloss covers and matte covers, I've tried a gloss cover. It turns out very shiny in pictures, like when you have bookstagrammers who take pictures for you. I got a lot of feedback that it was kind of tricky to do, like using the gloss cover to do photographs, which I did find the case myself. It was harder to take pictures. But then it is kind of a genre-specific thing. So in my particular genre, matte covers are more common, but other genres, gloss covers are more common. So I would definitely recommend going with what's really standard in your genre. That's really important. And then here, this is something that I should note for you guys that really threw me off the first time. They want it to be even numbers. Oh my gosh, I had odd numbered, I don't know, I think it was Evelyn's number that was odd numbered when I first submitted it, and I was getting so many issues, and I was getting like this, it's not working kind of feedback, and I had no idea why, and so I actually had to call and sit on the phone for almost an hour for them to tell me, oh, you need to have an even number here. So if you, for instance, have 363 pages, you would add one more, 364 pages, and you would put that here. And you do want to make sure it's exactly accurate, exactly what your PDF is. And this is one of the reasons that I don't do IngramSpark until it's fully edited and fully proofread, because I want the page count to actually be accurate. It affects a lot of things. And of course I didn't put one in, so they got mad at me. And let's say matte cover. Okay, so you notice how it gave you errors, which is really nice. Here is where it's a little bit tricky for me to continue on because I think it's going to get mad at me if I try to continue from this page, because I'm not going to use an ISBN number. Oh, check it out. There's some of my old ISBN numbers. I'm not going to input that right now, but you guys know what the ISBN number is, and you know that typically you have to purchase. You have to have an ISBN number to do this kind of distribution. If you happen to have your book on KDP and you want to see if you could utilize your KDP ISBN number here, you could try that. I don't think that they will let you, but I could be wrong, because usually it has to be lined up with your imprint. And then here comes the fun part for like where you're going to put it. So the US is where I would put a book, let's say a really standard price of $9.99. This wholesale discount is for places like Barnes & Noble or other indie bookstores to buy your book. So if you want to do The retailer preference, you definitely can. I believe, I always end up saying this wrong, but I believe if I'm saying it right, you're giving them 55% off of the retail price. So I think I had done 45% off because I wanted to be close to that, but I was like, dang, 55% is a lot. And then here, right here, is super, super important. This is where you, if you want to do a book signing, most bookstores will want you to put yes returnable. And I like to do yes deliver because if you click yes destroy, you're telling the bookseller to just throw away your book. And here, if you click no, at least Barnes & Noble won't let you do a book signing. So yes deliver. If you happen to have already set up on IngramSpark and you didn't click this button because you didn't notice it or you didn't know what it meant because they don't explain it very well, then you can go back in and change this at any time, but it can take up to a month to take effect, just so you know. And then you'll notice that the compensation here is pretty low. So it's what you pay, or what we pay, it says, for each sale made through our wholesale distribution channels. So any wholesale purchase, like if Barnes & Noble bought your book that's $9.99, you would get $1.15. I believe there's a way to, yep, right here. You can copy over into the Global Connect program, and I think it will carry down through in a second. I think I have to press continue for that to work, but if I remember right, it will calculate for you, and it will like copy over your US price all the way down into the global program. And it kind of does that for you right here, if I remember correctly. So that's something you can look into as well. But I know that I've never actually, I don't think I've ever done the math for this to make it, the same. I think they typically do that for me. The publication date, this is like when it's going to go on the shelves. And then the on sale date is left blank. They will be the same. I have never ever used both of them. I just use the publication date, because it's the release date. So if I was to release it next month, I'm not going to change this at all. Now, if I continue here, it's in the future. Orders placed for this title will be held and released prior to this date to receive the product on or before the on sale date provided. Choosing this option and not filling out the on sale date, I have noticed that it allows the retailers to start ordering the book up to 10 days in advance. I don't know if you put in an on sale date if that would change, like perhaps you didn't want them to order it until after the release date. You could possibly look into that. So the publisher has the option to print and ship an order before the on sale date, and will have the option to release the hold in the ordering screen. So for example, if I want to order a big box for myself prior to the release date, I can. And you'll have that option by saving everything just like this. You'll have the option to order it for yourself. Yep, I figured I wouldn't be able to go on because of the ISBN number. But as you guys saw, this was the last screen. And so the very next screen, I believe, is going to be the screen that tells you to upload your document, your manuscript, in a PDF format, and then it tells you to upload your cover, which is also a PDF format. That is the last step, and once you get to that next page after you hit continue, if you have your ISBN number correct, and you hit continue, and like I said, I don't want to input a wrong ISBN number because I don't want to waste an ISBN number. I don't want to risk them logging that as belonging to this book. And so I'm not going to do that. But once you have, uploaded your manuscript and uploaded your cover, it will take you to a screen where you pay. Once you pay, your book is going into review. It is not approved yet, which is really nice. So even if you click submit and you've paid for it, if anything is wrong, or if you just don't feel like pressing approve just yet, your book will not go public. It's not like KDP where you press approve and it goes public. Once you have submitted and you've paid for it, they go through a review, which can take up to a full week. I don't think I've had it take longer than a week, but they are very, very slow. And then after it takes a week, they will ask you to approve the book. Now, if there's any errors whatsoever, just so you know, you will have to pay to resolve those errors. That is a really not fun expense, and I really dislike that about IngramSpark. And so I also know that there's some amazing codes such as right now Nano, Nano, that will get you a free upload. If you happen to be uploading your book between now and I think it's March of 2019, make sure that you use the code NANO, I think it's all caps, Nano, and you will get your free upload instead of having to pay the $50, which is amazing. All right, so I think that's everything. If you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. If you ever need to call IngramSpark and ask them for their support, I definitely recommend that you do that. I think that they're frustrating to talk to. Just a little side note, I know this video is getting long, but just a side note, if you ever do call, try to choose the option where you get a call back so you don't have to sit on the line, because often they'll hang up on you at the 15-minute mark, and if they don't, it can be up to an hour wait sometimes, so you just don't want to have to deal with that. So try to get the call back, and just know that it's okay to give them a call. They're used to it. They get calls all the time. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this because this is all very inaccurate, but I hope that this helped you guys. And if you have any questions, again, just feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm here for you guys, and I hope you like this video. I'll talk to you later.